Okay, now we're going to jump to Cindy, and I'm just going to ask her to provide a little bit of some of the basic background information regarding teacher licensure and to briefly hit on MTEL preparation.
Sure. I actually feel like I'm almost the intermission after these sort of exciting personal stories. I get to share the boring bureaucratic piece, but it's a necessary part to get people like Michele and Nancy to where they want to be. So what I hope to do is provide a broad picture of the licensure process, and as part of that include some information about the MTEL. Basically in Massachusetts, right now there's a 3-stage licensure process. There are a few caveats at each end of this, but essentially students receive at the first level an initial license, eventually moving on to a professional license, and then as they remain in the field, they go on a cycle of continuous professional development and licensure renewal. So those are the 3 categories that I sort of like to talk about. The first stage of licensure is typically acquired as part of a bachelor's degree or as part of a post-baccalaureate degree program. Students can enter this level through both ways. Also required for initial, you need to successfully pass the MTEL, and then the other part, I like to say it's like an exclusive golf club membership, because in order to get an initial license, most often you have to complete an approved program. Typically approved programs happen at colleges and universities. There are a few school-based programs. The Boston Public Schools runs a very big alternative program, if you will, but you have to become part of a program to get into the licensure club. Once you obtain your initial license, you start preparing to advance to the professional level. This requires additional coursework. In some instances, it's a master's degree. If you get your first license as part of a master's, it's simply a matter of 12 additional credits. The key, though, is you need to teach for 3 years under your initial license. Sometimes students are a little nervous about that because they may not find the job they're looking for right away. They may not be in a position to actually look for a job right away. So your initial license actually can be extended for a 10-year time period. So within 10 years, you need to teach for 3 years in order to satisfy that one component of professional licensure. Then everyone goes into the continuous renewal cycle, acquiring PDPs. Michele referred to some activities that Emmanuel conducts with Catholic schools. A lot of school systems offer professional development opportunities, and essentially all teachers need to acquire 150 professional development points over the renewal cycle. It's 5 years from the time that your license is issued until the license comes up for renewal. There are, a number of categories within the 150 points, but typically it's a combination of coursework and experiences in the area that you're teaching, and then also additional experiences in how to teach those subject areas. So you put those 2 things together, you keep a portfolio of your experiences, and then you just apply for your renewal. The professional development process in Massachusetts works on an audit system. So you, as the individual educator, are responsible for keeping track of your experiences. The school system that hires you is responsible for keeping track of your experiences, and then you just submit your fee and your true worth that you've completed what you're supposed to the state. And then every year they conduct an audit of whatever the number is. So you actually don't have to send all of your materials at that point to them, but please be sure we all know of people that have been audited for professional development, so it's a good practice just to keep all of your information together. Just a brief word about the MTEL that I referenced as part of the initial licensure process. Massachusetts and many other states require teachers to pass licensure exams. Generally in Massachusetts, all students, all aspiring educators as well as administrators are required to pass a fundamental communication and literacy skills test. In addition, teachers need to pass tests in the areas in which they're going to teach. For those teaching at middle and high schools, it's a test in the subject area. If you want to be a math teacher, it's a math test, English, so on. Elementary teachers need to pass a few other exams. Because the content areas in elementary schools are so broad, elementary teachers are required to pass additional tests in foundations of reading, a multi-subject test under the heading of general curriculum, and then they're also required to pass a math subtest. So those preparing for elementary education, have a few more tests and hurdles along the way. Over on the side table, we have information about the MTEL exam. We have registration information over there, and I'll certainly be available after this to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Cindy. It can be fairly complex and try to really put it all together. That's why I'm Cindy, and I call her a lot, and I'm like, I don't fully understand this. What do you think about that? So I think it's really valuable to have somebody like that within your program.